No title is perfect, so that's why in today's video I'm going to be putting an asterisk next to every single NASCAR championship since 1949. I'm Brad, and welcome to Putting an Asterisk Next to Every NASCAR Championship. 1949, Red Byron. In the inaugural NASCAR season, only 8 races were even ran. Red Byron didn't even have the best average finish with a 7.7 compared to Lee Petty's 6.3. He also only led 118 laps compared to Bill Blair's 325. 1950, Bill Rexford. In the second NASCAR season, there were 19 total races. While Bill ran 17 of them, the most out of anybody, he only won 1 time, while Curtis Turner won 4 times. Second in the standings was Fireball Roberts, who only made 9 starts all year and only finished behind Rexford by 111 points. If Roberts had made all the other starts with him, guaranteed he would have beat him. 1951, Herb Thomas. In this year, there were 41 races, and Herb ran 35, the most of anybody. Both flocks had more wins, and both had a better average finish. If they had the same amount of starts, they would have beat him. 1952, Tim Flock. In this year, there were 34 races, while Tim only ran 33 of them. Look at that perfect attendance award. Also, Lee had a better average finish. 1953, Herb Thomas. In this year, Herb ran all 37 races. Once again, a perfect attendance award, more than anybody. And plus, you know for a fact that Jocko Flacco kind of screwed Tim in a couple of those races. 1954, Lee Petty. In this year, Herb had more wins with 12 wins compared to Lee Petty's 7. And also, Herb had a lot of engine issues during the season. Without those, Lee Petty would not have won that championship. 1955, Tim Flock. 45 races were ran altogether in this year. Surprisingly, Tim actually didn't have the most starts despite winning the title. Lee Petty actually had a lot of engine issues in this season compared to last year. 1956, Buck Baker. 56 races were ran throughout this year, and Buck ran 48 of them. Most of anybody except Herb Thomas, who ran the same amount. Third in the standings, Speedy Thompson had 8 wins but had 6 less starts. If he had as many as Buck, he probably could have won that title. 1957, Buck Baker. 53 races were ran throughout the entire year, and this Marvin Patch had 12 DNFs compared to Buck's only 4. If Marvin didn't have all those issues, he could have gotten the title. 1958, Lee Petty. In this year, 51 races were ran, and Lee only missed 1 of them, while Buck Baker ran 44 of them. Also, Fireball Roberts, running only 10 races, led 300 more laps than Lee Petty. Pretty insane. 1959, Lee Petty. In this year, Lee Petty ran 5 more races than second-place Cotton Owens did the entire year. Also, Rex White, running 14 less races, led more laps than Lee Petty. Mickey Mouse. 1960, Rex White. In this year, Rex had easily a more reliable car than Richard Petty. In third place in the standings, Bobby Johns had only made 19 starts. The competition really wasn't there. 1961, Ned Jarrett. Another season where they had 52 races. Rex White had more wins, top 5s, top 10s, and a better average finish than Ned Jarrett. 1962, Joe Weatherly. In this year, Richard had actually led more laps, and Joe had a more reliable car, as Richard had 12 DNFs compared to Joe's 5. 1963, Joe Weatherly. In this year, Joe only had 3 wins in 53 races, while Richard had 14 wins. And also, he had 10 more top 5s than Joe. Third in the standings, Fred Lorenzen had only run 29 races and had 6 wins, and had just more top 5s than him. Ned Jarrett, even fourth in the standings, had 12 more top 5s. 1964, Richard Petty. The first of 7 Mickey Mouse titles for Richard, he ran 61 of the 62 races in this year. Second place, Ned Jarrett, had 15 wins compared to Richard's 9. Also, Joe Weatherly's death prevented him from three-peating that year, and another front-runner, Fireball Roberts, also passed away. 1965, Ned Jarrett. In this year, a Chrysler engine ban really screwed Richard Petty and David Pearson, which made Ned have a huge jump in the standings. Also, Junior had the same amount of wins, 13, in 18 less starts. 1966, David Pearson. And this year, the Chrysler engines were allowed back in, and then Ford had a boycott as well, which then screwed Ned Jarrett, Fred Lorenzen, Dick Hutchinson, and also many other drivers. Meanwhile, second place James Hilton had 0 wins. The competition really wasn't there for David Pearson. In 1967, Richard Petty. This was the year that Richard had 27 wins. However, second place James Hilton once again had 0 wins. The competition is just not there. No one's trying to face off against Richard. It's a Mickey Mouse title. 1968, David Pearson. In this year, there were only 3 real competitive cars. And Richard Petty had 16 wins, but that was also the same amount of DNFs he had. David Pearson had a much better car than Richard. 1969, David Pearson. In this year, David had 11 wins. Comparatively, Bobby Isaac had 17 wins. However, you look at Bobby's DNFs, he had double the amount of DNFs as David Pearson did. If Bobby didn't have all these issues, Bobby could have easily won this title. 1970, Bobby Isaac. Bobby was able to bounce back from last year, winning 11 races. However, he had one of the most overpowered cars in NASCAR history, hence why it was banned the next year. Fourth in the standings, Richard Petty had 18 wins, 7 more than Bobby. And guess what? 7 less starts. If Richard made those 7 more starts, this would have been another Richard Petty title. 1971, Richard Petty. Another Mickey Mouse title by Richard. Last year's champion Bobby Isaac only ran 25 races in this year compared to Richard's 46. This was the last year of the pre-modern era, and there were no more dirt tracks. 1972, Richard Petty. This was the first modern era season, so everyone was trying to get used to what was new. Second place, Bobby Allison, led more laps and had more wins. 1973, Benny Parsons. Benny only had 1 win this entire year, while David Pearson dominated when he raced. This was also during the 1973 oil crisis, which made races be shorter. With this points format, by the way, Benny Parsons was able to really benefit from it and have the championship. 1974, Richard Petty. With a new points format because of what Benny Parsons did last year, this was able to finally give Richard a better chance. But once again, David Pearson dominated when he raced against Richard, making 11 less starts. 1975, Richard Petty. Another new points format was introduced, but however, Richard didn't have any competition. As second place in the standings, Dave Marcus only had 1 win. There's no competition for Richard. It's easy wins. 1976, Cale Yarborough. In this year, his car was prepped by Junior Johnson, and we already know his antics. His car was far better than anyone else. However, David Pearson won more races with 22 starts compared to Cale's 30. 1977, Cale Yarborough. Another year being carried by Junior Johnson, his car didn't record a single issue all year. Seems pretty unfair to me. 1978, Cale Yarborough. The final of 3 titles Junior Johnson carries Cale to, he only had 1 engine failure all year, compared to Bobby's 8 DNFs. Cale was carried by Junior Johnson, guys. 1979, Richard Petty. A championship that went down to the final race in Ontario. Darrell Waltrip got wrecked by lap car John Resac, which put him down a lap, which gave Richard Petty the championship. Pretty Mickey Mouse to me. 1980, Dale Earnhardt. Another first of 7 Mickey Mouse titles for the Intimidator. In this year, Cale Yarborough, no longer being carried by Junior Johnson, had more wins than Dale, and Dale almost choked at the end of the season. Also, Dale had no pulse. Come on, Dale, where's the speed at? 1981, Darrell Waltrip. This was the first year of the Gen 3 cars, and also another year of Junior Johnson carrying somebody. 1982, Darrell Waltrip. Towards the end of this year, it seemed like it was Bobby Allison's title to lose. However, in the last 6 races, Bobby had 4 blown engines. Without all those issues, this easily would have been Bobby Allison's title. 1983, Bobby Allison. Waltrip had more top 5s in this year. Cale had 4 wins in 16 races, and the issues for Darrell Waltrip early on in the season really screwed him. A nice, easy bounce back for Bobby, but still a Mickey Mouse title. 1984, Terry Labonte. In this year, Harry Gant led more laps, a little more dominant, and towards the end of the season for Bill Elliott, there was 3 consecutive races where he had issues. Without those, Bill Elliott could have won this title. 1985, Darrell Waltrip. In this year, Bill had more wins and dominated more often. However, issues late season really screwed him. Also, Darrell Waltrip got carried by Junior Johnson. come on now. We all remember what happened in that All-Star race. 1986, Dale Earnhardt. And this year, Dale Earnhardt was lucky that Tim Richmond was so inconsistent. Otherwise, Tim probably could have won if he was a little more consistent. Another thing, Darrell Waltrip blew an engine at Atlanta very late season, which gifted Dale Earnhardt the title. 1987, Dale Earnhardt. Another year where Dale was carried by Kurt Shelmerdine and Richard Childress. Dale got lucky that Tim Richmond had his off-track issues, as that weakened the competition slightly. If Tim was able to race, guarantee you this could have been a Tim Richmond championship year. 1988, Bill Elliott. This was the first year of the tire wars between Goodyear and Hoosier, so that actually kind of ruined the title just a little bit. Second place Rusty Wallace had more top fives and was in contention for the championship until their crash at Richmond. 1989, Rusty Wallace. This is another great year of battling for the championship, up until Charlotte at the end of the year, where Dale Earnhardt lost the points lead due to breaking a camshaft, forcing him to drop out of the race, and ultimately giving Rusty the Mickey Mouse title. 1990, Dale Earnhardt. Another one of the most controversial years. This was a season that Derek Cope won the Daytona 500. Come on, Dale, how can you lose to Derek Cope? But mainly because of what happened at Richmond. Mark Martin won the race at Richmond, but only to lose 46 championship points after NASCAR officials discovered a somewhat oversized carburetor spacer plate in his car. This ultimately became a key factor in the championship at the end of the season. It was admitted later, though, that the spacer was actually not oversized and not technically illegal. This part was bolted on instead of welded on, thus landing in the gray area of NASCAR rules. Mark Martin would only lose the championship by 26 points, so without that penalty at Richmond, this should have been a Mark Martin title. 1991, Dale Earnhardt. Davey Allison this year just could not stop crashing and basically was one of the most inconsistent drivers on the grid. While Ricky Rudd was consistent, he just couldn't win. This gave Dale Earnhardt the opportunity to win. Pretty Mickey Mouse. 1992, Alan Kulwicki. It was regarded as one of the greatest races in NASCAR history. It was also considering a little bit more Mickey Mouse as well, as we saw Mark Martin and Kyle Petty would have engine issues early on in the race, preventing them out of the championship very early. We saw Davey Allison get wrecked with a lap car laid on by Ernie Irvan. And with Alan Kulwicki's only 2 wins, is it really safe to say was he the real champion that year? 1993, Dale Earnhardt. This was the year of the tragic death of Alan Kulwicki, which prevented him from going back-to-back, and as well as Davey Allison's death, who was easily going to win a championship later on in his career. There's also a 4-race stretch where Rusty Wallace got screwed and probably could have won this title if it wasn't for that. Also, this was the year electronic scoring and timing was introduced. So basically anything before this year, you could just chalk up as errors on the officials. So for that, everybody Mickey Mouse titles. 1994, Dale Earnhardt. This year was looking like it was an Ernie Irvan title up until Michigan, where Ernie Irvan had a huge crash in practice where he suffered a near-fatal crash. He had head, chest, and lung injuries and would not race the rest of the year. This is also a year of Rusty being more dominant and Mark Martin having more issues. Is Dale Earnhardt one of the most lucky drivers in NASCAR history? Possibly. 1995, Jeff Gordon. The year of the Wonder Boy was carried by Ray Everham and Rick Hendrick, and also in the finale at Atlanta, Hendrick put in a 4th fake car to make sure that Jeff could secure the title. Come on, if you're going to win a championship, at least do it a little bit more legit. Come on, Rick. 1996, Terry Labonte. A year where Jeff Gordon was just a little bit more dominant with 10 wins compared to Terry's 2. This would have been a Jeff Gordon title if he didn't have a huge choke at Charlotte. 1997, Jeff Gordon. Mark had a better average finish all year, but one moment that really sticks out to me is at Atlanta during practice, where Jeff Gordon hit a parked car of Bobby Hamilton on pit road. Come on, how can a champion hit a parked car? Mickey Mouse. 1998, Jeff Gordon. This is just another year where he had a far superior car to everybody else, being carried by Rick Hendrick and Ray Hefferham once again. 1999, Dale Jarrett. This was the year that Jeff Gordon had many issues. However, he had more wins than Dale Jarrett with 7. Bobby Labonte had early season struggles, but had an incredible second half. Without those first half issues, this could have been a Bobby Labonte title. 2000, Bobby Labonte. Mark Martin was plagued with reliability issues all year. Tony Stewart had more wins, and Rusty Wallace led more laps. Not a true champion. 2001, Jeff Gordon. This was the year of Dale Earnhardt's death in the 2001 Daytona 500. This overshadowed basically the entire season, and nobody probably was trying that hard to get off of Jeff Gordon. Dale Earnhardt probably could have actually won this championship, considering in 2000 he got second in the standings. This could have been a Dale Earnhardt 8th title breaker. 2002, Tony Stewart. One of the rule changes in this year was the implementation of the one-engine rule for race weekends. At a race event, cars would now be required to practice, qualify, and race with the same engine, which benefited Tony Stewart. Also, Mark Martin had a better average finish. 2003, Matt Kenseth. This was the year that Matt Kenseth only had one win all year, while Ryan Newman had 8 wins and 11 poles. How can a champion only have one win? 2004, Kurt Busch. This was the year that the chase system was implemented, so basically anything from here on up can just be classified as Mickey Mouse forever. Kurt Busch had a really bad regular season. He was 8th going into the playoffs, while Jimmy Johnson had 8 wins. Easily should have won this championship if it wasn't for Talladega and Kansas ruining him. 2005, Tony Stewart. Greg Biffle had more wins than Tony, and Jimmy Johnson's bad luck with 5 DNFs prevented him from winning the championship. Also, the removal of Rockingham should honestly just throw this season away already. 2006, Jimmy Johnson. Another driver with 7 Mickey Mouse titles. This was the first of Jimmy's. This was the last full season of the Generation 4 car, and Matt Kenseth choked in the chase. 2007, Jimmy Johnson. In this year, they ran 2 different cars, being the car of tomorrow and the car of yesterday, so it was sometimes kind of confusing of when they would race it or not. Also, Jeff Gordon had a better average finish with a 7.3 compared to Jimmy's 10.8. 2008, Jimmy Johnson. The economic crisis of 2008 made teams lose sponsorships and some teams to shut down, which weakened the competition just a little bit. It was also the first full year of the car of tomorrow, and Kyle Busch choking in the chase. I mean, the guy had 8 wins and then absolutely just put it down the drain there. Also, Carl Edwards had 9 wins, so another Jimmy Johnson Mickey Mouse title. 2009, Jimmy Johnson. This was the great year of Mark Martin's revival, but that was Jimmy's only real competition. And out of prime Mark Martin, come on, carried by cheating Chad Knaus as well. 2010, Jimmy Johnson. The last of 5 titles in a row for Jimmy Johnson. They changed the spoilers midway in the season. And also, once it came towards the chase, Kevin Harvick absolutely choked it. I mean, he still had a better average finish, but Kevin choked it. This could have been a year of Kevin Harvick in RCR. 2011, Tony Stewart. This was the infamous year where Tony Stewart absolutely went hammer on in the playoffs here, winning 5 of the 10 races in the chase. However, Carl Edwards had 10 more top 5s and a way better average finish. And also, to be fair, Tony Stewart tied Carl Edwards. He didn't even beat him, technically. 2012, Brad Keselowski. Surprised year of Brad really came at the expense of Jimmy Johnson having many issues towards the end of the season with a rear gear blowing at Homestead and a blown tire at Phoenix, ruining his title hopes. And we all remember what happened with Clint Boyer at Phoenix as Jeff Gordon took him out of contention. Jeff Gordon really handed Brad Keselowski this title. Also, Greg Biffle choking in the playoffs again. 2013, Jimmy Johnson. The 6th title for Jimmy was the brand new Generation 6 car, so everybody was trying to get their bearings all together. Carl Edwards choked in the chase once again. Matt Kenseth had more wins as well, so. 2014, Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick switched to Stewart-Haas this year, but this was also the year that they introduced the playoffs, the true Mickey Mouse system. Also, knockout qualifying was added, and Harvick almost lost the title to Ryan Newman, who had 0 wins on the year. I mean, come on. That's a Mickey Mouse title of itself. 2015, Kyle Busch. This will probably go down as easily the most controversial championship in NASCAR history, mainly because of Kyle Busch missing the first 11 races because of an injury at Daytona. And also, Joey Logano deserved this title by far. I mean, he dominated also in the playoffs up until the Matt Kenseth incident. This probably should have been Logano's title, and Kyle Busch shouldn't even been in the playoffs to begin with. I mean, he only raced 25 races. 2016, Jimmy Johnson. The final of 7 titles for Jimmy. This was the year that they added the overtime line. Yeah, you remember that? That terrible rule? But this was Carl Edwards' year. It seemed like it was his, especially at Homestead, where he dominated the finale up until a late caution caused by Dylan Lupton, causing a restart where Carl Edwards got wrecked by Joey Logano and ruining his title hopes and pretty much putting him to retirement. Jimmy would go on to win this title, but probably easily the least deserving of his 7 titles. 2017, Martin Truex Jr. This was the year of the addition of stages and also the damaged vehicle policy, and without that, there may have been some cars that could have gotten out there and grabbed a couple points that maybe could have screwed Martin Truex Jr. Also, the Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott incidents at Martinsville and Phoenix also prevented both of them from making the Final Four. 2018, Joey Logano. The year of the Big Three where Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch won a combined 20 races, and neither of them won the title. Joey Logano only got into the Final Four because he wrecked Martin Truex Jr. at Martinsville to win. Also, Eric Almirola almost made the Final Four. I mean, that in itself should just throw this entire thing away. 2019, Kyle Busch. This is the year where they ran the 550 package at every single race except the 500, and also will be known as on the Final Four, where all the other crews made mistakes except Kyle Busch's. Martin Truex Jr.'s team switching the tires on each side, Kevin Harvick's crew leaving him out there for way too long and trying to do a really bad overcut, and Denny Hamlin's crew putting on way too much tape on his car, which literally gifted Kyle Busch the title. 2020, Chase Elliott. This is the season where the term Mickey Mouse Champion and Mickey Mouse Win actually comes from, as the start of the season was plagued with COVID, as that shook the entire schedule up, leading to a lot of double headers at tracks like Dover and Michigan, and completely switching up the schedule a lot. Also, the pit crew saving Chase Elliott at Martinsville is the whole reason he made the Final Four, and Kevin Harvick's incredible season that ended in despair. This should have been Kevin Harvick's year. 2021, Kyle Larson. This is the year still of no practice and quals pretty much at almost every single race. And thanks to David Starr and his pit crew, they gave him the chance to win this title. But granted, also for Martin Truex Jr., the only reason why Truex had a chance was because of Anthony Alfredo as well. And there you have it. There has never been a true champion in NASCAR in its history. If you liked today's video, please like and subscribe. And also, just remember, I'm not being entirely serious about all of these, or am I? For some, I might be. You can figure that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.